Welcome to Cypress Creek Adventures. Hey there, welcome to another week at Cypress Creek Adventures. This week we're going to follow up on last week's and learn about how to split wood and how to burn wood and how to store it properly. We'll also talk about some safety tips and how to run your wood stove and to keep it clean and other maintenance items that you need to know about. So let's get right into it. All right, I want to show you the splitter I use. It's a 27-ton splitter. And it's a horizontal and vertical, which means I can stand this up. And when I do these bigger chunks here, I won't have to pick them up. I can just roll them underneath under the splitter there and work them up that way. And it saves on the back pretty good. So we'll walk around, just give a quick look. And you see both sides. This is the side I work from all the time, away from the motor. As you can see, it's pretty heavy duty. I've had it about 8 years. And it was used when I bought it, and I've probably split about maybe 30 cords on this already. Alright, I want to explain a couple safety things. Of course, this cylinder goes in and out, as you'll see. I'm going to take up a 30-inch log, which is pretty long, but I can burn a long wood in my stove. And whoever controls the controller should be the only one that controls the wood on here. If you have a helper, they can set the wood on and they can take the wood away as it splits. But if this person is not paying attention to this person and they have their hand in the way, they can take a hand or a finger right off, because this thing has no mercy at all. It'll go right through knots and anything. It just keeps right on going. So it's slow, so you have time to get out of the way, but the person on the handle here controls the wood. All right, one thing I want to explain about this wood. If you split wood from the bottom of the tree to the top, in other words, as the tree is growing up, the wood will split a lot easier than it would if you do it the other way around. If we went the other way around, it would just string and get all splintery. If we go this way, we got a big knot right here where there's several limbs that have been healed over. So when we go to split this, you'll see that it will go a lot easier when we go towards the top of the tree from the bottom. And especially, it's true, we get on some of these bigger pieces that would determine which way the tree goes. Here's a good example. You can tell which way the limbs are going. So we want to put this against the cutter and split this way into the wood, and the wood will split real easy. If we go back the other way, the blade will tend to cut a lot because it's bucking against the limb that's inside the tree. So we'll show a few more times splitting, and then we'll switch the splitter around and do some of this big stuff. I wanted to show how this, what I was talking about with limbs. This limb here is growing this way out of the tree, but this limb also goes all the way into the tree. So we're going to split this tree here, or this chunk here, and break off that part, and then we'll go back and split this. And you'll see that when I get a read on where this is inside, I'll determine the place where I want to split to go through this limb on the other side. So we'll start this thing up and we'll see how this goes. Okay, now you can see where this limb is inside, and this line right here is where we want to go. But the difference in the rule about going up the tree applies when we have pretty good straight wood. Now that we've found this limb, we need to go right in here and split this. If we try to split this, this whole thing is going to veer off that way. If we come in here, it should split right on that line. Okay, now you can see how this whole limb makes up inside this tree with this bulge and curve right here. So now we're going to flip this back over like this so that we're going up the tree again, and we should be able to split right down through here. So as you can see, when we get into a big piece like this that has a big limb, there's actually the limb that's left that came out of here. And you got to read the wood when you get in these big crotches. But this wood right here will burn twice as long as wood that doesn't have any knots. And so I spend the time with it, because in my stove that would be like all night wood right there, because it'll last so long. Alright, now we've done some wood splitting. I want to talk about storing your wood. This is my supply. I try to keep 2 years of wood split all the time, because I never know what's going to happen with her. You know, just like with the COVID and our government and everything. So I'm going to be warm. I'm going to be able to cook and take care of myself. And one thing I wanted to talk about was how this is stored. The outside edges are stacked like this for stability. But then the inside, after many years of pulling out rotted wood and wood that was compromised, I went to this where I stacked the outside edges, but I loosely pack the inside. I don't just throw it in there, I kind of place it, but it's not stacked tight. And what that does, it prevents the bugs from being between the two pieces of wood that are laying on top of each other. Now, this wood you're looking at here is 2 years old. I've kept it covered. And yeah, there's some bugs in there under the bark, but the wood's not compromised. And a lot of this is white oak in here, and there's some maple, a little bit mixed, a couple other pieces of cherry. But I maintain this pile, and I'm not going to be out in the winter scavenging for wood. I'm going to be in house, nice and cozy. One other note is I keep such a big pile for the reasons that were previously talked about. But the other thing is, I don't know how hard a winter we're going to have. Now usually I burn about 3 to 4 cords a year for my little place, and I don't sit in a cold house. I got, I'm nice and comfy. But then one winter I used about 5 cords. Well, I didn't have to worry because I had 2 years supply. And then I'll cut some wood this fall, but most of the time I cut all my wood in the spring. That way I'm not out in the winter trying to fool around firewood. It's just too tough. So we'll move on to the next. We'll talk a little bit about wood stoves. All right, I want to talk a little bit about this chimney that I put in, and many homes have these and they're very safe. This is stainless steel, double walled, insulated. And I have a thimble that goes through the house, and you'll see inside where that hooks up to my stove. And then I made it so that I can clean it out outside. And as you can see up in here, I cleaned it last fall. Used it already a little bit, but it's clean in there. So it makes it a lot easier for me to maintain. And once a month, I take my brush and brush that out. Same with the pipe inside, as you'll see. Okay, so now we're inside. You can see this chrome collar here, and that's all insulated. It goes through that wall. And then I made this pipe to connect to the back of my stove, and I have a damper in there. And then I had to put a little adapter on the back here because it's so smaller. But this stove here is a European style. It's not a nice yodel like I would like to have, but it's a double chamber. And this top chamber here on the top has a metal plate between it, and the smoke comes in here, goes up here, and then goes out. So this is like a heat chamber in the top, and it's very efficient for as small as it is. And I get a lot of heat out of this. I have to be careful sometimes because it'll run me out of here. So you can see it's long and narrow. I'm going to open it up in here, and I've already been burning. And so you can see, I try to keep a little bit of ashes in, but it's better to keep them down, to a minimum. This is my only heat that I use all winter. I do have some propane hot air, but I don't like to use it because it's expensive. So the other thing I want to show also, when I clean the chimney, I take this pipe down right here, and I take that outside and clean it. And then the thimble here that goes out to the outside, This is about 2 feet that runs here to the outside, and I'll take my brush and I'll brush all this out too before I put this pipe back on. So the first of every month I do that, no matter how hard I've been burning it. And that way I know for sure that I'm clean and I'm not going to have a chimney fire. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and hope you learned something about wood stoves and cutting wood and splitting wood and just some safety tips. And I enjoy giving these videos and making these videos and share my knowledge with you. And if you have subjects that you'd like to see on this channel, let me know. Leave a comment below. Please like and share. Thank you for watching. God bless.